Creighton do?
I know who you are.
I'm gonna kill Jason Voorhees. I need you to help me.
Jason Voorhees is dead.
You know he's not. I know he's not. He's coming for you, Dad. And your daughter.
Welcome back to the Haddonfield Horrors Podcast, where we review horror movies and horror movie franchises. I'm Mark.
I'm Rudy.
I'm Tawan.
I'm Maria.
And today we're watching Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, released in 1993, directed by Adam Marcus, and the story was by Jay Hughley and Dean Lorey. Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, not Friday the 13th, Part 9. Why is that? Before we get to any of that, Rudy, can you give the people the plot summary?
After being blown away by a team of FBI agents, Jason Voorhees, aka Kane Hodder, needs to find a way to overcome certain death. When his bloody remains are sent to the morgue, his heart, still intact, is able to hypnotize a coroner and take over his body. After brutally dispatching a couple of FBI agents, he heads back to his favorite stomping grounds, Crystal Lake. Jason begins another teen massacre while a bounty hunter, aka Stephen Williams, discovers the only way to kill him. With the secret of Jason's evil revealed, it is up to the last remaining descendant of the Voorhees family to stop Jason before he becomes immortal and unstoppable. This is the final battle to end Jason's reign of terror forever.
So the final Friday.
Indeed, the final one, apparently.
Like, they were so done after Jason takes the cruise ship that they were just like, fuck it. Because, let's see, Jason Takes Manhattan. That came out in 19... What year was that? Fuck. Jason Takes Manhattan came out in 1989. So they went into a new decade and they were like, we're just going to say fuck everything that happens and just make our own lore up. Because this movie is the first movie that's like so lore heavy out of the blue. Like, there's swords and there is necronomicons and deadites and all types of shit happening. I'm like, I get this was supposed to be the Freddy versus Jason movie, but like, why am I seeing Evil Dead shit here? Like, what's happening right now?
Which is funny. It's funny now because in us watching these movies, like I just been whenever we're like going over episodes, like I look up a lot of shit on Wikipedia for it, and then I found out there was like a whole comic book. It was like Freddy versus Jason versus Ash from Evil Dead, and I'm like, that kind of
Which
makes
is a good comic.
now. I never read it, but I've looked at it and I was like, it looked interesting. And now that like this movie, I have this movie in my mind, that crossover makes more sense.
But getting into it, Rudy, overall, what do you think about the final Friday?
I was not a fan of this movie only because where do I even start? Like the beginning was, I felt like the beginning where they were like capturing Jason was like part of a movie they were filming because it just seemed so, I don't know, just like when the girl, I don't know what she was, like a cop or something. She was
FBI agent.
FBI agent, and she was basically trapping him and all that, right? So when he's captured, you see all these lights, and like I don't know if it was just like the horrible acting from the cops or whatever, or the FBI agents, but I thought it was like a film they were shooting of Jason, and he's just like so weird and not like Jason that I knew before these, before this movie or during the franchise, because this is when he got like really bigger. The face reminded me so much of Jason X because he looks steel for a second. I don't know if you guys seen that too, but just the whole movie overall was fucking whack. It was like a knockoff bootleg version of Chucky series where apparently he can just like transfer his soul over to the next person, etc., and kill people. I wasn't a fan of the story.
Maria, what about you? What'd you think?
Yeah, it was really weird. Like, from the beginning, I just don't understand that whole cop scene. I don't get, like, he's just somehow alive chasing someone and then they shoot him or they blow him up and that works. I don't know. And yeah, it just
I mean, this is the first time we've seen him like being blown up with explosives. We haven't seen this before, so that was kind of new. I kind of
no. I don't get the whole like alien thing going on. Like I don't understand why. I don't know. I mean, like you barely see Jason in here, you know? And it was just a lot of
you
things
only
that
see him in the beginning, in the end, and then in reflections.
yeah, so it just I don't know, this movie didn't make sense. The acting was it was very comical. It was kind of funny to me.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a lot going on in this movie, and it it's really like this time like the director and like the people like put everything together with this one. I feel like they just took like all the ideas that they had for like the prior movies that Paramount didn't let them do, and now that they were on the New Line Cinema, they were like, we're just gonna put in everything that we actually wanted to do, and that's how we got what we got because there was just a lot going on, and like even though yes, a lot of it prior didn't make sense, like we just like forgot about the girl who had telekinetic powers and stuff, but now we're like in a whole like thing where Jason is like able to possess people because he's been infected because of something his mom did with the fucking Book of the Dead. It's like what we got from this like woodsman kid growing up in the woods killing people to this, and this was a ride of a series. I will say that. So there's a lot going on, and honestly, not all of it stuck, if any of it, honestly. And I just like I don't know how we got to this point.
I don't think they know how it got to this point, and it's I know how we got to this point. Everyone who say what you want about those first 8 movies, somehow they're able to tell a linear story. They all connect in some kind of way. That's where we get those stupid like 5-minute recaps at the beginning of each one. They're all telling one story from his mom getting his head chopped off until he's a fucking kid in toxic waste in Manhattan in a Manhattan sewer. That's all one story for those 8 movies. That's because all the producers who were behind those 8 movies all said "fuck you, goodbye, we're done with Friday the 13th," and now we have New Line Cinema, whose whole goal is simply to make Freddy versus Jason. And but because we couldn't get Freddy versus Jason because the original Nightmare on Elm Street director decided he wanted to come back after 5 sequels to make another sequel to Nightmare on Elm Street, we couldn't get Freddy versus Jason. We had to get Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and we had to get this movie, The Final Friday. And this isn't a good movie. It's bad. It's stupid. Like if this lore was introduced sooner, I would understand it. I would like it more. If we knew he had a family, I would like it more. And
Yeah,
see, I always thought that she was like Diana was his half sister on his dad's side. But I watched interviews with the director and he's like, "Oh no, this is Pamela's bastard daughter who she gave away in shame before Jason was born." And that's why she was so attached to Jason. Like, what the fuck? I'm like, as a crazy of mother as Pamela Voorhees is, I don't think she would have gave her daughter away. Like, it makes more sense if it's from the Voorhees bloodline.
yeah.
That would make it his dad, not his mom. She just has her husband's last name. She doesn't have the Voorhees blood in her. The movie is dumb, and the director is dumb because he doesn't know how bloodline works. But Maria, What are some scenes that stood out to you? Good, bad, indifferent. You loved it so much.
Well, the scene where that like demon child, whatever the hell that was, came out of I think it was Robert. I think came out of his, or that no, that police guy that came out of his head. That scene was like, it was kind of nasty. It was kind of disgusting. The first scene was just awful. The scene with like the police, the FBI, because it just looked bad. It looked so bad.
It did look bad.
Um, and also when crap, what was her name? Diana. You know, like when she was like dead and she was like on the like in the floor,
Hmm.
and then they were like, oh, like
That part about being reborn through a Voorhees woman? Does it have to be a living woman? Duke, that thing's in the basement with Jessica's mother.
or basically where he like possesses her, and then he just comes out instead of looking like Diana, it's Jason. That makes no sense to me.
Well, no,
Yeah,
that was the whole point. That was the lore that he needed the body of a Voorhees to be reborn.
That
So
makes
the
just
other bodies were just temporary. Like the Jason body was trying to come out of them, but because they weren't Voorheeses, they all melted. But when he finally was in a body of a Voorhees, he was able to fully emerge as himself again and be reborn.
that sounds weird.
Yes, that's
It's like
why the baby would have worked too. Like if he was able to get inside the baby, big adult Jason would have been able to come back out. It just had to be a Voorhees person.
huh,
interesting.
that was still a weird scene. I did
And
like,
controversial.
yeah. Um, I did like all the scenes with those people from the diner. I thought they were funny. They were really funny to me.
It's a whole new patty, hence the 2-for-1 burger sale. God, I'm not a best woman. Hold me back! You guys make me sick.
I thought that too.
Right? They were like, I liked their back and forth, and they were just like, I don't know. For the movie, they were fun to look at or fun to watch. I think that's it, to be honest. I don't know. This movie was kind of boring too. Like there was just a lot of things going on that I was like, I don't. I mean, I guess. And then I feel like there just wasn't a lot of like killing, really. I don't know. This movie
Yeah,
was kind of boring.
it was a slow movie. It was basically just I didn't understand it either, honestly.
Well, for me, I have two standout scenes. One is because it's like an inside joke, and then two because it was stupid. And for me, the one that's stupid is the jail scene when he's when Duke, the bounty hunter, is breaking Steven's fingers.
Hmm.
Like, why was this needed? Like, why are you breaking this man's fingers? Like, he's supposed to go fight Jason now with 5 broken fingers. Like, make it make sense, you idiot. And then the scene that I think is funny because like an inside joke is, the big guard who was like
You want nothing but a big old pussy anyway.
Yeah.
that's the actor who plays Jason. So I always thought that was funny.
No way.
Yeah, that's him. That's Kane Hodder. He plays Jason.
Wow.
Yep. So I always thought that scene was funny. He's like, "Oh, Jason's a pussy." I was like, "Ha ha ha, funny inside joke." But then it gets stupid because Jason just like murdered the 2 guards, and the news is there
Tonight on American Case File.
with the bodies still
Literally.
there, uncovered at that. Like, what? This is not how this is. This is not how this works. Not even in the 90s does it works like this. Like, come on, people, cover the bodies up. Be respectful. Why are you showing these dead bodies fresh on the 10 o'clock news right now?
Yeah, it's given that movie Nightcrawler if you've ever seen that.
What about you, Tuan? What are some scenes that stood out to you? Good, bad, and different.
Okay, the one scene that I liked a lot in this movie because I love when they do practical effects like that was when the which officer was it? It was when I think it was I forget which officer it was when they came back to the Voorhees house and Jason got transferred out of one of the officers and like he like melted and the effects that they had when his body was like melting and shit.
Oh, that
That
made me
looked
so
really.
uncomfortable.
I love that though. I love body horror like that. That shit looked crazy, and it looked really good. And that was like that was like the first time I seen like some really good effects for one of these movies like that. So that was like perfect. But that was like the main scene that I kind of liked. I liked a little bit like the shootout in the diner just because how unexpected that was for this type of movie. I'm like, why is it in slow mo? I was not expecting that. Like
It
it
was
was like
too
a little
long.
genre. It was long though. It was long, but it was like a lot going on, and Jason got he got a, well not Jason but whoever he was infecting at the time I guess you could say he got some good kills off of them. Like I'm sorry he elbowed that the one lady the big lady and like her whole mouth went into her face like that was kind of cool. And then he like shoved the other guy's head in the fryer. That was like some classic Jason killing right there.
Rudy, what about you? What are some scenes that you liked, disliked, thought were stupid?
So my favorite scene was, I'm not gonna lie, regardless of the horrible acting, was when he got captured in the beginning. That was actually a pretty dope kill scene for Jason because he got blew up in bits and shit. So that was pretty cool. Um, at first I'm like, wait, so if they killed him, who's Jason? But then I started watching the movie, obviously, and I'm like, oh, okay, I see where they're going with this. I didn't like that, but so yeah, basically my favorite scene was that because it was like the coolest scene ever to kill a serial killer. The worst scenes were just throughout the movie because I don't understand the whole his soul, whatever possesses over the other guy's body, and now he's doing the killing for Jason. I thought that was pretty whack. Maybe because I've seen that in so many movies or like the Chucky series and shit that I'm just over the whole possession idea. Yes.
What are some? Do you have any favorite kills?
Mine are basic. My favorite one I think was when he killed that one. I don't know what he was like. The guy in the beginning with the one who got possessed when he was like talking shit to Jason, his lifeless body on the the little whatever they call it, and then
Okay,
the
because
man.
Jason reacted to because Jason was about to leave, and then the guy started start talking shit, and the guy was
Yeah.
like, Jason was like, okay, no, never mind, I'm gonna fuck you up.
No, not that scene, but the one before that scene, the other doctor, whoever he was.
Oh, the black guy when he started eating the heart.
Not that scene, but the guy that was with the guy that was possessed by Jason. I don't know his name. The with glasses. He that Jason like stuck him in the neck or face or something, and then he
Oh
smashed.
yeah, yeah, that guy.
Mm-hmm. It was the beginning, and I think that was the first kill scene too. So when he like smashed his face through the table thing, and you can see like his face kind of like smushed in there. That was a dope scene. Um, I'm trying to think of other scenes. I just feel like I would have said like the tent scene where the couple was having sex and they kill them both, or Jason kills them both or whatever. But it got tired. Like everything was just we've seen it in previous movies where like they die in a tent or they die in certain ways that they did in this one. So it got repetitive in my opinion. So yeah, I don't have many other favorite scenes.
I think I also really liked the scene in the beginning when he kills the other coroner.
Yes, there you go, corner.
Um I don't know, it was cool when he like took his face off and you see like his face is just all squished and
Mm-hmm.
just nasty. I mean, I guess this isn't really a kill, but I really liked when Diana basically blew Jason's head off and then he just like fell. Not Jason, but whoever was in his body. I thought that scene was pretty cool. Um, what else? I also did like the scene when he killed those teens. Not really the guy, I guess. I don't really care about him, but I thought it was cool when he like basically stabbed the girl and then like tore through her. You don't see it, but it's implied, and I thought that was cool. Um, I think that's it, to be honest. This movie just wasn't like memorable.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Tuan.
I'm like, wait. um, I think for me the best kill. Eh, there weren't that many memorable kills, but I will say, yeah, I will bring back again those kills that took place in the diner. Um, I just thought they just felt like classic Jason kills, like in a way that, like he killed like the three people that worked there inside of the diner. But I also did like that one in the tent where he like stabbed the girl through the tent and then like went up and like her body just like split. That was kind of like classic Jason type of kill. But besides that, there weren't really like many to like go off of here. But I did look at the unrated ones because they did that again, so that was nice that they did that.
That was done on purpose. Like the director, that was the one good thing the director did. He told them to make all the kills as bloody and as gory as they could, because he intended on releasing a director's cut for like VHS. So he was like, we're gonna do these kills because with or without the ratings board, these we're gonna release it on VHS in the unedited version. So the one good thing he did.
The one.
Yeah, and then for me, I don't have a favorite kill because, like Rudy said, it's kind of repetitive. It's at this point, Jason's just doing his greatest hits, but not doing them better. There's no improvement. It
Mm-hmm.
was just been there, done that, and we didn't really get to even see Jason. So I was just kind of, I don't know, I don't know. It's a weird movie, but we've established that. So let's move on to the characters. Let's start out with Diana, Jason's long lost unknown sister, who we barely got to know. Tuan, what are your thoughts on Diana, the sister of Jason Voorhees?
It's it's all a little confusing, like the way just bringing them in now, and because I could see if this was like something somewhere in like the middle of the other movies that we watch, like that'd be cool. But like the fact that this is like the ninth movie and we're just getting lore that should have been introduced already, like I found it kind of hard to like care for a lot of the characters that were introduced that were supposed to be like related to this story and like go
You know
into the
that you said that? I feel like this should have been in the last Tommy movie.
mm,
That would have made more sense. Like Tommy was looking for a way to finally kill Jason.
that's
This
true.
would have been perfect.
That's true. And when it came to it, like it was like hard to like care for any of these characters and like um for what they even had to do, even more than like the randoms that we get. Because like when we get the randoms, it's like okay, like we know they're here to die, but like they're using like these characters like Diana and Jessica and stuff. They're using like all them for like plot devices, and it wasn't really like working as well for me with the way that the story was going because like Jason never really had a big motive until now, and Diana was like the least the one who was like the least in it as in regards to like the story because she died pretty early on if I recall, um when I forget whose body he was in at the time when when she died. But yeah, she died like fairly early on, so it was even more like it was even more with her like less for me to like care about in that instance. And then they only used her. They really only used her as like to have that plot device at the end of the movie, so Jason could come back for a bit in his like actual form. And besides that, like that was all like Diana was like kind of used for.
What about you, Maria? What do you think about Diana?
Um, I agree with what Tuan said. Like, you just don't really like care about any of the characters. You don't really feel any like connection with them. I thought she was gonna play a more important part than just the fact that she's Jason's half sister. You know, like they just gave her the title and that was it. Um, I feel like we probably could have done without her in the movie. If it would have came out that maybe she was dead, I feel like the movie would have moved on anyway. She was just kind of there. She was just kind of like, I don't know. I guess like a way for like the story to continue, but you just don't really connect with her. Like you see her with Duke, and then you see her like talking to her daughter. I don't know. She just feels like a side character, even though I kind of feel like she shouldn't have been.
Hmm.
But yeah, I don't really have any big feelings about her. She was just kind of there.
Well, what about you, Rudy?
I agree with both Tawan and Maria. I feel like they just used her character as like a bait in the movie. Like, okay, now we have like somewhat of a storyline. Let's just add her in the movie for a bit, make her disappear. Not even halfway through the movie, in my opinion. And I'm like, well, what the hell's the point? Like, I didn't connect with her either. I just felt like she was there as an introduction, as a purpose for Jason to be back, you know, and get his revenge. And I don't I'm not a fan of, like I said, I don't know much about her in the movie, so I'm not really. I have nothing else to say about her. Although she was a little fucking dumb because the guy told her at the diner, like, "Oh, be careful, Jason's not dead," blah blah blah, and she just like, she had that like slow look in her face, like she wanted to believe him, but then again, I don't know, I don't think she did believe him, so
Not
that's just
until it was too late.
exactly after the fact. Like, bitch, if someone's warning you, someone's out there to get you. I would fucking run away with my high anxiety and shit. Like I'm not just gonna wait until I die. It's like a see it to believe it kind of thing with her character, and I didn't like it. It was poorly written.
Yep. And you know your brother is Jason Voorhees, and you know about the. See, that's what they have the legend of Jason Voorhees clearly because the FBI is there to blow him the fuck up. You know you're the sister of this crazed camp serial killer, and you continue to live in the town where the camp is located or
Mm.
close to the town. I would be a plane ride away, 6 hours. I would be nowhere near New Jersey. I would be in fucking California. I would be in Chicago. I would be in
Yeah.
Vegas. I would be in Canada. Why are you in? Why are you this close to where your serial killer brother is?
You're right,
Exactly.
especially if people knew that she was his half sister. Like,
I don't think
if you,
anyone knew. I don't think only person that knew was Duke.
but I don't know. It was. I mean, it's still weird because yeah, because why would she settle down there? You know what I mean? Like she knew,
Mm.
and like she was insistent. I think at first, when you first meet her, she was like, "Oh my god, he's alive," but everybody was like, "No, he's dead." So she was like, in her mind, she was like, "Yeah, he's probably dead." But like in the back of her mind, like this man came alive like 5, 6 times already. Like you can't. I don't
You
know.
know your brother's story. Why are you there? Like after the first string of murders, Jason Voorhees killed people. Like
And
I'm
her
getting the
mom.
or her stepmom, depending on which way you're gonna go with that. Either way, I wouldn't be in New Jersey. I wouldn't be in any surrounding states of New Jersey. I would be oceans away. But let's talk about Duke. Now Duke, like Tuan, Maria, remember when we were doing the episode for part 3, and we had that guy, the brother, who was like hunting down Jason with like newspaper clippings and shit.
Yes,
He should have been the Duke character.
I could have seen. Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that.
Because that would have made more sense. Because with the guy from part 3, like, your sister died yesterday. Why are you hunting Jason with these like years old looking newspaper when your sister just died? Like,
Yeah,
does your parents even have her fucking body? Has she been buried yet? Like, why are you here, sir?
that's true.
But we have Duke, who had a bunch of weird things to say, like that whole line about I
Oh,
picture a
you
little
just stopped.
girl with a hot dog going into
If you're
a
talking, we
hula hoop.
can't
Like,
hear
what the
you.
fuck was that?
Yeah, he cut out.
It's like this is creeping me out. Like, why are you saying these things? And why was he dressed up like a cowboy? Like, why was he dressed like Van Helsing? Like, what was going on?
Mark.
Rudy, take it away. What do you think about Duke, the bounty hunter?
I don't know if I didn't pay attention to the movie or not, but I don't know what his intentions was when he ate the heart, and then he somehow got possessed by Jason's soul. Yeah, it didn't. I didn't I didn't connect with him either. Duke was kind of just like, I'm just kind of mad because they used the black man as the villain in the movie, and like I don't understand like his purpose. Like, was he just like this crazy person obsessing over Jason, where he just wanted to see if Jason was like immortal or something? Because I never understood that concept in the movie, and his character also, I just knew bits and pieces of him before he got possessed by Jason, and he seemed like he was interested in capturing Jason, but then again, he was doing the killings for Jason. So I'm like, wait, which is it? Like, who's who? So during the movie, I was confused as to where he was standing. Like, was he pro Jason or was he against Jason? Who knows? But I wasn't a fan of Duke for that particular reason.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I was kind of confused with his character. Like he he was like he was there, but like yeah, his intentions weren't really like that clear. It's kind of like he was searching for Jason Voorhees, and but it's like I don't even think there was a reasoning as to why he was. Like I don't remember him like discussing like why he was looking for Jason. It's kind of like he was like it's as if he had like something against Jason, but I don't think Jason really did anything to him or anybody. I don't think Jason killed anyone that he knew or anything like that. So, like the
Right.
intentions that he had for being there, besides like just being like a cool guy for them to throw into the story, which is like kind of what I feel like they only did with him. Like he was just there to kind of be cool in a sense, but he didn't really do much to work with that. Maria, what about you? What were your thoughts on Duke?
Yeah, it felt like he just kind of came out of nowhere, like, and then
Hmm.
just started. Honestly, like, I felt like he was just making all this stuff up as he was going. Like,
That's
yeah, like,
true.
how did he figure out about all this lore? How did he find out about the whole only a Voorhees can kill him or whatever? Like, how would he know that? Is what I want to know.
That's yeah. That's very true.
Right.
Like the lore was made up in this movie, and like he's the only one that knew about it.
Yeah, like how, like why was he the only one who knew about it? And not to mention, he was so useless. Besides giving Jessica that knife, that dagger, he didn't really do anything. I
Yeah,
thought he was gonna like be able to handle himself with Jason, but he just like died. He died by getting crushed, but still, Oh
literally a bear
Yeah.
yeah.
hug.
And then when he was like, oh, when he was trying to make it seem like him and Jason had some type of history, I can just imagine Jason is in his head being like, "Who are you?" you know?
No, literally, like this man never came up in anything else, but now he has so much beef with Jason, and like he's like his arch nemesis or something. Like it makes no sense. Like we've seen Jason's story to this point, and sir, you were not there.
Yeah, like it was weird. I thought his whole character was
Yeah,
weird. Also, I should have mentioned this too, but like the scene where he's like breaking Steven's fingers was weird. Cause he was
Yeah,
like, "Oh well, it's a give and take. I need something in order for me to give it to you." Like, why? You're both in jail. You're not gonna get out. Like,
literally.
you want this guy to go defeat
Yeah,
Jason, but you're over here breaking his hand. Like, I think that's what Marcus said earlier. But I thought that was so weird. Like, what was the whole point of that?
yeah, that was very weird. And
No,
to bring it back to
no, no.
my
Sorry,
bad.
but I was gonna say his acting in that scene though was really good. It would have been a great scene for something else, not this.
Yeah, his acting was kind of good though. Like he was overdoing it, but like I've seen that guy in other movies. He was like, what was his kid name? He was Mike, the black kid in It, the chapter one. He was his uncle in
Oh
that
yeah,
movie.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he's a good actor. Well, yeah, they were not giving him much to work with in this movie. But to bring back what Mark said, I do agree that the one guy who was the brother in part three could definitely have been this role because at least it would have made sense as to one him having beef with Jason and also like him probably looking into every fact about Jason that he
Yeah.
could to find anything on him, even if it just came up now. That would make more sense than this new person.
Yeah, because it was just weird that he just suddenly knew everything about Jason, as if like he's literally just going around killing people. Who would? He's a he used to be a kid who started going around killing people, and for some reason was brought back to life multiple times. So where could he learn this like information about him? Like I don't
Hmm.
know. I mean the acting of the character was great, but like I feel like Duke overall was so unnecessary. And yeah, they definitely should have done one of the survivors to be Duke in his place instead of you know, instead of the way they did it.
Yeah. So moving along, Rudy, what did you think? What did you think of Steven in this movie?
Steven, first of all, I wanna know why they keep like it went. Not that I'm like basing it off looks, but like it went from like super attractive guys to like the nerdy guy saving the day, and I feel like Steven was more so like not some bogus, but like the reject who wanted purpose. he wanted he
No,
wanted purpose. So they made him into like the
like he just
heroic.
wanted to help out.
Yeah, like okay, what was he about? Like he was who? He was with the girl, right?
Yeah, he was with Jessica because that was their
Yeah, the daughter.
yeah that was their baby Stephanie.
So like I don't know. This whole movie is just a hot ass mess, and I feel like his character in general, I didn't really connect with him either. Not again, not basing it off looks. I'm just saying like they chose like the most scrawny, like nerdy, geeky looking guy to be the hero, and I just it could be realistic. I could be wrong. Who knows? But I don't think it's realistic in my book. Like I feel like um where am I even getting with this? Yeah, I don't have much to say about Steven. Honestly, he was just there to me. Didn't bring nothing to the table besides wanting to be the hero again. So yeah.
Yeah, I will say I do kind of agree. Like he wasn't like he was present throughout the movie, but he wasn't like doing much. I guess you could say like he was trying to like look into it and like help out where he could, but um, I don't think most of the things that he did in the movie pushed anything forward. Um,
Exactly.
yeah. Maria, what about you? Did you have any thoughts on Steven?
I agree with what Rudy said. It was weird because yeah, literally in all the last movies, all the final guys basically looked the same. They were all, in my opinion, old, but they were all like big and like tall. And this guy was just honestly, I thought he was her brother at first until they were like, no, that's like her baby daddy. And then it just confused me that I don't that whole thing just confused me a little bit. But like he had his moments, I guess, when he was like having his fingers broken, but he was gonna go help her anyway. I guess that was cool of
Yeah,
him. But other than that, I just feel like he doesn't stand out. Like nobody in this movie stand out. Nobody had a huge impact besides the little thing that's
yeah,
coming out of like everybody's mouth.
that's true. And I do agree with that. Like, cause in the other movies, like the characters were like they were randoms, and we like know like a lot of them were there to like get killed. Also, like we didn't have to pay attention to like get attached or anything. But I feel like they wanted us to like pay attention, but also they were still killing off so many of these people at the same time, and they weren't like interesting enough to get attached to them
Yeah.
either. Especially because this is the only movie they're in, and they're supposed to be they like the story. There's actually like a story this time that we're trying to follow, but it just wasn't hitting like it was supposed to for them in the movie. Um, Going past Steven, um, we have Vicky, and I also added just the other characters in that were in the diner, like all three of them who worked there. Did you guys like those characters, Maria, like the ones who were in the diner?
Yeah, I thought they were so funny. The only thing that stood out to me about them was like their banter. Like they were so funny to me. The
Yeah,
Yeah,
scenes that they came up in were so funny.
yeah, I agree. They were funny. They added that they added like a comedic charm that wasn't like um it wasn't like overdoing it. Like I feel like if I walked in that diner, I could actually see them being like that. Like it felt natural. That's the word I was looking for. It felt like natural. It didn't feel like forced or anything. Rudy, did you like the diner like side characters who eventually had to fight Jason?
yeah. Like you and Maria said, I agree with that scene. I think that was the highlight of the movie. It brought some humor in it, and it brought something to the table itself. Where I was like, okay, this is actually worth it. Like, there's always gonna be that one scene in a shitty horror movie or just a shitty movie in general
Hmm.
that makes up for the entire thing, you know.
Yeah,
And that
true.
scene was one of those scenes where I don't really complain about it. I'm like, okay, well, you know, it made up for it. So I didn't feel like I had to like get my time reimbursed, you know, because the movie sucked. So that's that diner scene was like everything.
Yeah, and almost capping it off. What did we think of Jason in this movie, or the lack thereof of Jason, Maria?
I don't know. I just thought like the Jason in this movie was so different than the other Jasons. Like for one, he's this I don't even know what the hell he was. Like I don't understand the whole like, you know, um alien thing that they had going on. Like I thought that was weird. Um and I don't know, he seemed very vengeful this time. Like anytime anybody talked bad about him, he was like, "Yeah, I'm going to kill you."
No, he was on dirt with everybody, even from the beginning, with like the doctor that when he ate his heart. Like it was like anytime anybody say anything bad about Jason, Jason was ready to turn up in this
Yeah, and I
movie.
feel like it's the first time you see that. I don't know if I'm right or wrong or whatever, but from what I've noticed, it's the first time he's like acknowledged what people actually said.
Which is interesting because I'm like, I don't. Besides him knowing his name, I don't think Jason's acknowledged anything else that anyone said in any movie prior to this
Yeah,
point.
like besides his mom, it was like his only thought is just I'm going to kill these people.
No, actually, um, Rudy, what were your thoughts on Jason in this movie?
Well, I don't even think Jason made an appearance besides those few scenes in the beginning, and like I don't even remember if I've seen him during the movie. Did he ever show up again, or was it
It
always
was it was honestly just the beginning when he got blown up, and then the ending once he infected the Diana's body.
right? So like,
But I guess we could count like I guess we could count the in between, like when he was possessing other people, since that was him, just in like spirit, I guess.
yeah, like I don't know why they even decided to make this movie if they knew that they weren't gonna have Jason make an appearance like throughout the whole movie.
That I definitely very much agree with.
Like it was more like a money grabber kind of movie, like hey, let's make a movie based off Jason and not have him in it for the whole movie. Like it was just like a waste of time, and I'm pretty sure a lot of fans were pissed and like disappointed when it first got released. Who knows? I haven't done research on that, but
Yeah, we will
yeah,
touch on it. Um, as far as my things with it, yeah, I agree with a little both of what Rudy and Maria had to say. Jason was lackluster in this movie, and the lack of actual like Jason and his own body type of thing, like it was weird, and you kind of get the idea that they like killed him off like in the beginning like that for the shock factor of it all, because it like I I feel like if this was like um maybe prior to him getting reanimated and turned into a zombie and stuff, it would have been like, like Jason actually died. But we already saw Jason get killed once, so it's like at this point, like that like mystique of it all is kind of gone now. And like for him to get brought back again, but now he's like a fucking demon spawn, like slug thingy. It's very weird to go about it. Um, I don't even know if we asked. Like, did you guys like the whole demon slug thing? Like like Rudy or Maria, like did you guys both like that, or what were your thoughts on the actual like that part of it?
on what part?
Like the whole like demon slug thing that Jason had going on, infecting people.
I It was dumb. I was fuck. Like I said, maybe because I've seen it too much already in movies lately. That even going back to a movie that was set in that time frame, I'm like, fuck. They've actually been recycling this same concept in movies, even with the Chucky series. Like how he can like possess multiple bodies or whatever the fuck it is. Like it just doesn't make it doesn't combine well with a serial killer, a killer that's well known for his killer instincts without it being involved, without being supernaturally possessed. You get me?
Yeah,
So when I was watching the movie, I kept analyzing, like, okay, where are we getting it? What are they doing with this movie? Because no, I wasn't a fan of it. I feel like those kinds of movies with demons and possessions are their own thing, and when they try to like make a well-known killer possessed by a demon or some shit, it just fucks up the entire concept of the franchise. um like imagine there what's an example, like a Scream movie with Billy Loomis. What if a demon possessed him and he came back from the dead? That'll make the movie so fucking dumb,
that's true.
because it takes the reality of, okay, this is a real life person who had issues, became a serial killer, killed this, whatever it may be. So same thing with Jason. Like, no,
Yeah, it
just
went from
whatever.
like a slasher to like a supernatural horror. And even then they just didn't or not super I don't even know what the hell that was. But like it just didn't make sense. I mean, no, yeah, like I mean, what Rudy said was, was right because the whole franchise is about the mask and how he's like this big guy
Right.
walking towards you with like a machete or whatever. But you see him
Yeah,
like in like a couple scenes, literally a handful of scenes, and that's it. And then suddenly like he's possessing this slug. Like is that like I don't even know what the hell that slug is. Like is it him? Was he
yeah, that's so weird. They don't. It never was explained.
Yeah, like it's just like okay, well, this slug went into this person, and now they're gonna act like Jason. Like, how in the hell did how did that happen? I don't get it. I don't know. It like they explained like how he should have died and how they brought him back, but they never explained the whole slug thing. Like it just happened. which was weird. And also the fact that this slug went from like a slug to like a tiny demon baby was also weird. You know, because the whole point of the franchise was that Jason was, a kid who drowned, and now he's taking revenge on teenagers or on other people, on campers, basically because they drowned him and because they killed his mom. So at this point, it's like, so he was possessed the whole time, and that's why he's killing. I don't know. It just raised a lot of questions that were never answered, and I'm assuming they're never gonna answer.
No, literally, they're not going to be answered whatsoever.
Yeah, so I don't know, it just didn't make sense.
Right.
Well, that wraps it up for our characters and Jason Goes to Hell, which was very lackluster to say the least. Now, to get us into some behind the scenes budget info, all that fun stuff. So, the budget for this movie was $3 million. It returned 15.9 million in the box office. A couple little facts and tidbits about the movie. The original title for the movie was Friday the 13th Part 9, The Dark Heart of Jason Voorhees. But due to the rights getting switched over to New Line Cinema, they could not use that title. But Paramount Pictures, who had released the previous 8 Friday the 13th films, negotiated with New Line Cinema over the rights to the series and ultimately granted New Line Cinema the rights to Jason Voorhees' character, but they kept control of the Friday the 13th title, which is kind of the same situation with Chucky and like the new Child's Play movie. So like they were able to use like Child's Play, but they couldn't name the doll Chucky because of that. This movie would mark the return of Sean S. Cunningham, who hadn't had any involvement in the movie since Part Two. He directed the first Friday the 13th and produced the second one. The director Adam Marcus was fresh out of film school, and this was his directorial debut. And I think he should have went back to the drawing board. Body Hopping Jason came from a mix of Adam Marcus's original story treatment and Sean S. Cunningham, in his own words, he wanted to get rid of that damn hockey mask. And also, apparently, the script for this movie was written in just 4 days. That is very bad. Um, Kari Keegan, who played Vicky, had a negative experience working on the film, and her antagonistic relationship with director Adam Marcus eventually caused her to quit acting for good. John D. LeMay, who played Steven, also starred in the TV series Friday the 13th, the series, which, except for the title, wasn't connected to the movies or Jason. LeMay is one of the only two actors from the series to appear in the film franchise. The other is John Shepard, who played Tommy Jarvis in Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. And Tony Todd, better known for his role in Candyman, auditioned for the role of Creedon Duke, but lost out to Stephen Williams, and Williams would only play the part if he could dress as a cowboy. And last little tidbit here, Aaron Gray, who plays Diana, didn't know that the Jason worm was going to enter her character's body through the vagina. She didn't find out until she watched it at the premiere. So, going into the critics' reactions, currently this movie sits at a 20% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think that's higher than Jason Goes to Manhattan. um, the Los Angeles Times praised the performance of Grant as well as Harry Manfredidi's score, but noted ludicrous characters and garbled non-stop gore and poor lighting as notable faults. The Washington Post wrote on the film, the scriptwriters tried to conjure some history, mythology to validate the plot's twists and turns, but the whole thing ends up even more confusing. Arizona Daily Star wrote, yeah, there's a lot of shower taking and slaughter here, and a plot about evil bloodlines, tabloid TV, soul shifting, and God knows what else. And lastly, The Pool wrote, Jason Goes to Hell reinvents the Friday the 13th franchise, and not for the better. I would have to agree with
They were
that.
definitely and not gentle.
No, they really were not. They were going in on this one, which is deserved because it was not giving. So that wraps up our um, take on Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday. When we come back with you all next week, we'll be taking a break from Friday the 13th to go into the remake movies for Halloween that Rob Zombie completed, so that we can eventually get to Halloween Ends and cover that for you all. So, with that being said, we all hope you have a good one, and goodbye.
The Haddonfield Horrors podcast is a Letters to Media production.
Should we do an intro?